Good morning, boys and girls. We are on page 73, lesson 13 homework. For the first question, it asks, are the following expressions greater than or less than 1? Circle the correct answer. So, what they're asking you is, when you add these numbers together, are they going to be greater than or are they going to be less than 1? And remember that a number that is going to equal to 1 is going to be like 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. So it has to be a number that is higher than the denominator. So what I did was, you have two ways to figure this out. You can kind of figure out mentally by visualizing 1/2 plus 4/9, like the fraction circles or even the fraction graphs. If you can't, then I would suggest that you write it out to see what it looks like. So in this case, we have 1/2 plus 4/9. So I'm adding them together. First, I'm going to change the denominator to make them the same, and the common denominator is going to be 18. So I multiply 2 times 9, which is equal to 18, and the top number, same thing, 1 times 9, which is equal to 9, 9 times 2, which is equal to 18, and 4 times 2, which is equal to 8. Now I'm going to add them together. 9 plus 8 is equal to 17, and my denominator stays the same. Now, a whole number, right? A number that is going to be greater than 1. We know that 1 is 18 over 18. So this is 17 over 18. This is one less piece for a whole number. So that means that it is going to be less than 1. Okay? Now for problem B. I have 5/8 plus 3/5. And I know that the common denominator for 8 and for 5 is going to be 40. So I multiplied 8 times 5, which is equal to 40, and 5 times 8, which is equal to 40. Now multiplying. 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 8 is 40, 3 times 8 is 24, 5 times 8 is 40. So when I add 25 plus 24 together, I get 49. 49 is greater than its denominator. So we know that 40 divided by 40 would give me 1. So 49 divided by 40 is going to give me greater than 1. So I'm going to circle greater than 1. For this problem, we have here a subtraction problem. We have 1 and 1/5 minus 1/3. So what I'm going to do is I change 1 and 1/5 to 6/5. I changed it by multiplying 5 times 1, which is equal to 5, and 5 plus 1, which is equal to 6. My denominator is 5. So I have 6/5 minus 1/3. 5 and 3. The common denominator for 5 and 3 is going to be 15. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 5 is 15. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 5 is 5. So I have 18 minus 5, which is equal to 3, and my denominator is 15. So I get 3/15 as my final answer. Now 3/15 is less than 15 divided by 15. Remember, 15 divided by 15 is equal to 1. If it's less than 15 in the numerator, that means that it's going to be less than 1. For this problem over here, I have 4 and 3/5 minus 3 and 3/4. So what I did was I subtracted my whole numbers, 4 minus 3, which is equal to 1. And then I subtracted 3/5 minus 3/4. So the common denominator for 5 and for 4 is going to be 20. 5 times 4 is equal to 20. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times 5 is equal to 15. So now I'm going to subtract. I can't subtract 12 minus 15, so what I did here was I borrowed that 1. So I added 20. 20 plus 12 is going to give you 32. 32 minus 15 is going to give you 17. So you get 17 20s. And remember, 20 divided by 20 is equal to 1. If it's 17, which is less than 20, that means that your number is less than 1. For number 2, it says, are the following expressions greater than or less than 1/2? Circle the correct answer. So I have 1/5 plus 1/4. I added the numbers, I multiplied to find the common denominator. So 20 is my common denominator. 5 times 4 is 20, and 4 times 5 is also equal to 20. 4 times 1 is 4, 1 times 5 is 5. I add 4 plus 5, which is equal to 9, and I get 9/20. Now, what is half of 20? Half of 20, right? If I were to multiply 20 divided by half, which is 2, then it should be 10. Now, notice this number is 9, so that means that it is less than 1/2. So I'm going to circle 1/2. For problem B, I have 6 sevenths minus 1 sixth. So I'm going to find the common denominator for 7 6, which is equal to 42. 7 times 6 is 42, 6 times 6 is 36, 6 times 7 is 42, 1 times 7 is 7. I have 36 minus 7, which is equal to 29. My denominator is 42. I bring it right over. Now I need to figure out what is half of 42. I can do that by dividing. 42 divided by 2, I get 2. I know that 2 can go into 4 2 times. 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down your 2. 1. So 21, right, should be my half, which is half of 42. So if it's 29, that means that it's greater than 1/2. So I'm going to circle greater than 1/2. Over here I have 1 and 1/7 minus 5 6. So what I did was I changed it into a mixed number. I multiplied 7 times 1, which is equal to 8. Don't know why it's blurry. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So I get 8 sevenths as my mixed number. My common denominator is going to be 42 again. 7 times 6 is equal to 42. 6 times 7 is 42. 8 times 6 is 48. And 5 times 7 is 35. Now, 48 minus 35 is equal to 13, and my denominator stays the same as 42. I said earlier that half of 42 is equal to 21. This number is 13, so that means that it is less than 1/2. So I'm going to circle that one. For problem D, I have 4 sevenths plus 1 eighth. So my common denominator for 7 and for 8 is 56. 7 times 8 is 56. 4 times 8 is 32. 8 times 7 is 56. 1 times 7 is 7. I'm going to add 32 plus 7, which is equal to 39. My denominator is 56. Now, I'm thinking in my head, what is half of 56? So I'm going to divide. 2 can go into 5 2 times. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down your 6. 2 can go into 16 8 times. So 28 would be the half point. And in this case, this is 39. So it is going to be greater than 1/2. That was a terrible 2. Let me change that. Now, for number 3, we have here use greater than, less than, or equal to make the following statements true. So we have 5 and 4/5 plus 2 and 2/3. I didn't have a lot of space here, but the first thing I did was I added my whole numbers 5 plus 2. 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. And my fractions are 4/5 and 2/3. The common denominators for 4/5 and 2/3 is 15. So I multiplied. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15. On this side I have 2 times 5, which is 10, and 3 times 5, which is 15. So 12 plus 10 is equal to 22. My denominator is 15. And my whole number is 7, which I brought right over. Now, I'm not quite done because I noticed that my numerator is larger than my denominator. So what I did was I divided 22 divided by 15, and I got my final answer of 8 and 7/15. Now, 8 and 7/15, right? That's what we have here, 8 and 7/15, and this one is 8 and 3/4. So which one do you think is bigger? 8 and 3/4 is larger than 8 and 7/15. It was a really close call. And how do I know that? Because if I have 7 pieces of 15, I don't even have half. But 8 and 3/4, 3/4 is more than half. That's how I know. So 8 and 3/4 is larger than 8 and 7/15. On this side, we have problem B. For problem B, we have 3 and 4/7 minus 2 and 3/5. So what I'm doing is I am going to multiply. My common denominator is going to be 35. So I multiplied 7 times 5, which is 35. 4 times 5, which is 20. 2 times 7, which is, sorry, not 2. 3 times 7, which is 21. And 5 times 7, which is 35. So I'm adding the number 20, well, subtracting 20 minus 20